All right. I just wanted to thank everyone for coming. First and foremost, I want to thank the Zion Church for last minute being our host destination. It was a very last minute change, so we could accommodate everybody and make sure grandparents and everybody's families were able to attend that would like to. So I just wanted to welcome you all to the 2023 Buckeye High School Boys Soccer Banquet. I do have everything written down, otherwise if I don't, I will start spewing out, just talking for hours, and I won't stop. We're pleased to have everyone here to celebrate these young men on their fall season and rejoice in their accomplishments and awards. My hope tonight is to honor our players and celebrate the growth they have achieved over the course of the 2023 fall season and give to them a spotlight in which we can highlight their individual and team accomplishments and showcase their collective growth this year. I did write this, and I feel like I'm reading something that's not written by me. Before I turn it over to Coach Ivan and introduce our JV players, I'd like to extend a quick thank you to everyone who has made the season possible and happened behind the scenes. To Brian Wagner, our goalkeeper trainer, put in a lot of time with our goalkeepers and really did a nice job helping them improve throughout the course of the year. To Coach Ivan, who happily stepped in as our JV coach and did an absolutely fantastic job. I was happy to have him back. I've known Coach Ivan a very long time, and it was nice to have him on the sidelines with me to talk to and run through ideas of training. To Sai Kekyo, who helped me behind the scenes and has been a mentor to me for a very long time. Actually, the first tournament I ever went to was at the Kalahari Cup many years ago, and Jaden and I talked about the time when we were sitting inside of Kalahari eating waffles, and he was eating waffles bigger than his head. Toby O'Brien, who has graciously filmed for us and put all of our film on. I came from a school that had a huddle camera hoisted in our stadium, so I didn't have to touch the camera or do anything with it. So to come home and not have a camera, I was very happy to have someone willing to do that. So thank you. Dan Prentice, our announcer, good friend of mine, stepped in and I think did a really nice job helping with that. And then to all of our parent volunteers, anybody that helped run the concession stands or do things behind the scenes that I may be forgetting, especially parents that helped in the concession stand, I truly, greatly appreciate you. From a fundraising standpoint, the concession stand is one of our biggest fundraisers, so to have people there willing to work it, it's a fantastic thing. So I thank you for that. And lastly, to Sarah Powell, who has put up with a lot of my stuff and listened to my phone calls and questions over and everything, because I didn't know anything when I came in. I thank you, I appreciate you, and you are priceless to this program. We could not do this without you. So without further ado, I will turn it over to our JV coach for the year, Coach Ivan Tenanika.
Thank you, Coach. So, this is my fifth year extending, and I think previous years was a lot easier than this year. As a coach, I think it tested me as a coach to be coaching these kids, especially when we came in for our first scrimmage against St. Ed's, and I was like, oh boy, there's a lot of work needs to be done. And the kid that came years before that, I thank a lot of to the travel programs, to the Buckeye, and how nice and well they did. Cy, Chris Day, to bring out those kids, and that was easily to transition into the high school and be very competitive JV team playing against some better teams. So this year we were mostly freshmen, and I think after we had a loss against what's the first game we played?
Dover, Walsh.
Yeah, Dover and Walsh. Boys responded, and I was grateful. We did a lot of work. We did a lot of little side small-sided games. Not gonna get into it, but they responded well. And I think going on from there, I hope, and I know parents saw this, the passion to be on the field playing teams like Bay, and then winning against Brunswick. I thought that was a huge accomplishment for our JV boys that they can play, and they can play against good teams. And going on forward, we had a very good year. Them showing up to practice and practicing hard, that was a huge, and I think that beating Brunswick, I think that's what kind of pushed us over in that direction. So I'm not going to take a lot of time, so I don't have a lot of notes. I just want to make sure I get everybody in order here. But I would like to talk about individual players. And then I want you to guys come up and then line up and wait over here. So the first, I'm going to call Brandon Chipkus. So a couple things about Brandon. I had Brandon playing center back and outside back to kind of help out which side move on the weak side. So I'll move him around. And every time I ask Brandon, I was like, Brandon, can you play center back? Okay. Brandon, can you play left back? Okay. Like, he never complained. He always showed up to practice. And I noticed his intensity from last year to this year at practice is a lot, much higher than previous years. So I'm very pleased with you this year, and thank you. Second person, Jonathan Crook. So, Jonathan, same thing. So this second year, when I had him as a freshman, he was a little bit timid. He was a little bit playing juniors, most of the time sophomore juniors. He would step away. That's not the case this year. He played amazingly outside back. I don't think he ever played outside back previous to this year, so he did an amazing job filling that role, and I definitely appreciate you. Dimitri Pronyak. Oh, Dimitri. What can I say about you? No, Dimitri, Dimitri is one of those players, very talented. And a lot of times, I don't know if he knows that he's very talented, but he's very hard on himself. And the way he started his year, he would back off tackles. He would not go make that run on the wing. But something clicked towards the middle of the season, and he was tackling. He was getting fouls. So definitely amazing job, and I'm looking forward to you playing for years to come. Logan Schaefer. So Logan would be one of those players that he would play pretty much the entire game. There would be very rarely, and that's the way I rotate players in and out. I just look at their fatigue on the field. So with Logan, most of the time I would never have to worry about it. Played amazing role as a defender. I think as a freshman years to come, I would like to see him explore other positions, and I think that he could play a big role in other positions. I think he's one of those players that can adapt to any position, and definitely looking forward for you playing. Joey Zuberman. Joey was one of those players too that I always, when I talked to Joey, it was like, okay, what I need you to do, you're not going to start to play, you're not going to start beginning, but I want you to be ready. And then like within 5 minutes, he would go in the game because I would move kids around. And it was amazing to see him so improve as a player. Playing outside back, I thought he did an incredible job. Really impressed me with his development. So, good job. Elijah Lepner. So Elijah, this is the first year I ever see him play because some of those boys, either I coached them in the past for a season or so, or I see them play. But with Elijah, actually I did coach him for one season. Take it back, 8th grade. When he came in as a freshman, introduced him to the new position, playing in midfield, and he had to learn it. Confused at the beginning, but he did an amazing job. As a player like him, and I was talking to coach, is athletic as Elijah. He can adapt himself to play any position. He can, very coachable. So definitely excited to see upcoming years him becoming an amazing player. Rory Walter. So Roy, before I start talking about him being on the field, but Roy is one of those players that you love to have on the bench, especially when he plays for varsity games. He is such a energizing person that we love having him with the varsity. He was amazing. On the field, I am so glad that you decided to play soccer. I hope you enjoyed it. They had fun. You definitely improved from the day you started. I think you were a little frustrated. And toward the end of the season, you were taking one-on-ones, you were doing tackling players. So I love seeing you that improvement, and I love to see you back next year. Hunter Uline. Hunter did an amazing job as the goalkeeper, and as the coach said, that Brian did an amazing job with them. He bought into it, became very aggressive in the goal, communicating with teammates. Definitely a huge improvement. And towards the end of the season, I woke up to coach, and we were talking about the playoffs. And I said, we were talking like, hey, I think Hunter is one of those players that deserve to be on the playoff roster and to experience that playoff, have that playoff experience with the varsity. And it was not just given to him just because he's a goalkeeper. It was given to him because he worked day-to-day hard with goalkeepers, and then improving so much that kept us in a lot of games. And we're definitely excited to see you for the next 3 years. So we definitely appreciate you. All right, keep up the work. So the next players I'm gonna call up here. I'm not gonna be talking about them because the coach will talk about them. But they were swing players, but I still like you guys to come up here and line up over here. And these players helped and lead the team of young guys and led them to victories, ties. We have Nate Tessman, Brody Winter, Kale Miller, Dimitri Tenenica, Cole Rowland. I don't see Cole. And Brandon Lopez. We also, end of the year, we kind of evaluate the freshmen, and this year, for the Rookie of the Year is going to go to Kale Miller. Another one we would like to give the Developmental Player of the Year, and no doubt in my mind, this player from beginning of the year towards the end of the year changed completely, and it's Joey Zimmerman. All right, and so guys, this is this was our JV team this year. We were very slim on the players. There were some games we had to play with 10 on the field, sometimes 9. I think we were in a game with St. Vincent and Mary, and then we went down to 9 players, I believe, for that game. And I think it was like a tie game, and they ended up beating us. But they all played a crucial role, as we didn't have any substitutions, and a lot of players will say, "Hey, I need a break." Well, I don't have one unless I step on the field. But they did an amazing job, especially being in such a hard conference as we play just to match up for our varsity. I don't know if a lot of parents know, we played 11 D1 schools or 13 D1 schools, something like that. And most of those, I say 8 out of those teams have JVA and JVB teams. Most of the schools like Brunswick, Medina, the JVB would be considered as a freshman team. And then JVA would be an upperclassmen. And these guys played JVA teams throughout the season, and they did an amazing job. I think the record they had towards the end of the season was definitely impressed me, and I'm very thankful for them to buying in and working hard on a daily basis. Thank you, boys.
Thank you, Coach Ivan. And thank you to our JV players. They are the future of our program. I think it's important to know that the JV team is just as important to the program as any varsity team. I mean, without them, we don't have a program. So to see the commitment they made to Coach Ivan and their teammates, and the improvement was night and day. It was incredible. It was fun to watch. I'm excited to see how they do next year. So at the beginning of the season, I asked the guys what their goal was, and overwhelmingly, they shared the goal of getting back to the district final. According to Ian, it was back where we belong. I can't say I didn't agree. Nevertheless, I made it clear to the guys that nothing we will ever get or ever come to them will be because they were entitled to it. Rather, it would come because they earned it. Each week, every training session, everything had a purpose. Every week we had a plan to improve upon in order to reach the team's collective goal. It certainly came with its ups and downs, from the most exciting wins like St. Vincent St. Mary's, or the heartbreaking draw against Bay Village, which we all know is a win. The film proves it. Every step taught them something, gave them something to think about for the next week, all culminating to our final game against a very, very strong Lake Catholic side. This team went on to earn everything they set out to accomplish this season, including a 12-7-1 record, 51 goals, 7 shutouts, ranking 7th out of, 9 shutouts, ranking 7th out of 34 teams in the OHSAA Division II standings, and going on to reach the coveted district championship game that they had won it badly so back in August, as it sits on the table over here. The Bucks placed top 15 in Greater Akron all season long, finishing amongst the biggest and most competitive top schools in the district. To say I am proud would be an understatement. Words can't explain the pride I have as both a coach and an alumnus. You all have earned the right to walk away from the season with your heads held high. To our seniors. Oh man, I lost my place. I thank you. You have given 4 years of your life to this program, 4 years of preseason trainings, summer leagues, summer camps, big wins, devastating losses, and many, many memories. I feel blessed to have been a very small piece of that journey for you, and hope that you continue into your lives, whether that be university, trade school, however you end up, but do so with the same willingness and determination that you showed to get to this moment today, all season long. We appreciate you and all you have done for our program, so thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to call our varsity players up. We have just a quick little story or two about them. But the first person I want to call up is actually not a player, and I don't think he's here, but is someone that unfortunately got hurt playing basketball at the beginning of the season and stuck around, and really not only stuck around, but was basically my unpaid assistant all season long, and it was awesome because I had nobody to run up to the press box and drop things off, and that would be Drew Tessman. Drew was our statistician all season long. Drew, again, was my unpaid assistant who would go get rosters from the other teams, and he'd come over and he'd text me from the press box, "You didn't write the starting lineup?" And I'm like, "Oh crap, just hang on," and I'd have to send a picture of another one. But it was awesome, and it's always nice having a student athlete who was unfortunately had to miss out on the season, but still got to participate somehow. And I hope that he stays healthy for next season, because I really would like to have a player that I can send into the goal box and scare everyone. So Drew Tessman. So the first player I'm going to call up had 1 assist this season and was a Greater Akron honorable mention. That is Cale Miller. Cale spent most of Cale spent the first half of the season playing with the JV team primarily, and really did a nice job and showed us a lot of tremendous improvement, and I was able to find trust heading into towards the middle of the season where we could slot him into a position in the middle of the field. And as a freshman, as any player can tell you, to go out under the varsity lights is incredibly intimidating at times, especially with the competition that we played this season. Like Coach Ivan said, we played 11 Division I programs this year, and maybe one I could say was, I wouldn't even consider Firestone, but to play Brunswick and Walsh Jesuit and Westlake and all these massive schools, and to have a freshman capable of going out consistently on a night-to-night basis and perform was incredible. So we appreciate you. I'm excited to see how you do next year and the years to come. Cale Miller. next player I'm going to call up, I have pictures of when he was real young, when I coached him in a club setting. This year he had 1 goal and 1 assist, and he never failed to remind me of it every chance he got, and that is Nate Tessman. So, when Nate was younger, he was the just very got kid that was clunky at times, and as he grew and got bigger and started getting closer to how tall I am, he just got more and more confident in himself. And I always told him, as my great-grandmother always says, you'll never get so big that I can't reach up and smack you in the back of the head. But Nate did a really nice job this year. Throughout the course of the season, he spent a lot of time as a swing player with the JV group. And not only did he spend time with the JV group, but he really took ownership as a player and played a position up front for us that Coach Ivan was just bound and determined and said, he's going to be a forward. And I said, if he gets as big as Drew, we're going to have a very scary forward. But he did a really nice job, and he was able to finally score a goal on the varsity side and have an assist. And I'm excited over the course of the next 3 years to see how he develops and how tall he truly gets. But it's nice to have tall players. So Nate Tessman. The next player I'm going to call up is our what I would call our third string goalkeeper for the tournament. That's Hunter Uline. So, Coach spoke to Hunter's character and his passion and his ability to fight through, and he is just a kid that at training, after goalkeeper training, he'd come over to the group practice and tears in his eyes and covered in mud, and he looks at me and I go, freshman, you got to collect soccer balls. On it, coach. Immediately he's doing it. And I think for me as a coach, knowing over the course of the next few years, in any high school setting and even at the collegiate setting, our job is to develop a program. Every year you have a fresh batch coming in. So to know we have a freshman player with the character and attitude of someone who's just bound and determined to be successful no matter what it is refreshing, and it's exciting because I know now that the freshman class coming up is going to have a plentiful of young men to look up to, and I'm happy to say Hunter is one of them. So, Hunter wins. The next player I have to speak about in a very, very nice way because his dad stood right next to me. But Dimitri Tenanika is our next player. Dimitri is a very quiet kid if you don't know him. Until you're scrimmaging and you get absolutely checked in the back and you're just completely caught off guard. He's a very quiet kid, but a very physical player, and he has grown so much. Not only over the season, but he's another kid I've known for many, many years. And watching him as a youngster, he was quiet, but very confident in himself and very willing and determined to improve all the time. And now it's nice and it's an honor to be able to coach some of these kids that I knew when they were so young, and Dimitri is one of them that he is going to be a fantastic piece for us over the course of the next 3 years. He's very aggressive, he's very physical, he won't say anything to you, but he will plant you on the ground and just stare at you and walk away as if nothing's happened. I'm proud of how he did this year, and the minutes he got playing on varsity, give it up for Dimitri Tenanika. Brody Winters. I consider Brody amongst a very in the world, a very small type of player, which are called utility players. Somebody you can stick in any place on the field and they will do whatever you ask of them. Brody tells me that in club he plays defender. And I said, okay, awesome, I'm gonna put you back there. And then I put him in a position that he plays forward, and I said, I don't know, I kind of like you up there too. And then Coach Ivan's got him playing midfielder, and I go, man, I kind of like you there too. You do a nice job. And as a defender this season, he was a part of 2 clean sheets, which is fantastic, and did a really nice job for us. He's got a very good attitude. He's a bright spot in our team and is always confident and is always positive amongst his teammates. And again, and I have to say this about the whole team, we are so fortunate at Buckeye, and as an alumni, I'm so proud that we have kids with such great character that come through our program and have such good attitudes, and Brody's one of them. I'm incredibly excited about next year with him, and I hope that he's able to step up to the plate and rise to the occasion, and I'm incredibly confident he will. Well done, Brody. Gavin Williams. Gavin had 3 goals and 2 assists. He was named second team All Great Lakes Conference and second team All Greater Actor. Last season, as I watched film, Gavin played as an outside back primarily from what I saw. And I stuck Gavin in what I consider a very thankless position as a 6. It's an incredibly thankless position because you have 1 or 2 jobs mainly to do. Is to stop transition and is to start the attack. And it goes unrecognized all the time. Some of the best players in the world play that position. N'Golo Kante, Xavi Alonso, they're the best players in the world at their position. And Gavin was uncomfortable in that position at first, and he told me that it was not something he was familiar with. But the minute he got comfortable in that position, it was night and day. Nobody transitioned against us. We were able to stop everything, simply because Gavin was in their face, yelling, wait, 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 before they took free kicks. And it was the funniest thing I ever saw in my life. Because it caught me off guard and I started laughing until he got the yellow card. Very, very fiery spirit and a hard worker and is relentless. He'd show up to training if he felt sick, you'd never know. That's just the character and determination he has. I'm incredibly excited to see him achieve even greater things than we could imagine. I think he's going to do wonderful for us over the course of the next 2 years that he has with us. I appreciate his efforts, his adaptation, his ability to do everything we ask. Let's give it up for Gavin Williams. Cole Rowland is not here, correct? But I am going to talk about him. So Cole Rowland had 1 goal and 1 assist and 1 avoidance of KO against Normandy. I think we would refer to him as Muhammad Ali back in the day. Cole's a scrapper, and every day is a kid that is asking how he can do better and what he can do to improve. And that's the best kind of player. I tell the younger kids I coach that the best players are the best learners and the best listeners. The ones most willing to accept criticism and take that criticism and run with it, and he's one of those kids. And I hope he beefs up a little bit next year, because if another kid comes swinging at him, he's got to be quick. But Cole Rowland did a wonderful job. If we can give Cole a round of applause. I should refer to this other kid as Muhammad Ali as well, if he keeps taking out goalkeepers. Dalen Martin. That was a highlight. I'm actually pretty sure it's on the video. It was awesome. Show that to all my friends. Take that to the coaching convention this year. So, having now coached at 2 high schools, 2 rural American high schools, multi-sport athletes are everywhere. Everybody's a multi-sport athlete. And Dalen is one that played 2 sports in a single season, and it's not easy, and it is incredibly challenging. And I used a boy named Mason from when I was coaching over at NIU, and he was the same way. He was a superstar running back, and he was able to do everything with us in soccer. And I talked to him and said, listen, if this is the commitment you're going to make, you have to be willing to make it completely. And he, without question, started that conversation and wanted to reassure me that he could do it. He's an absolute all-around athlete. He does everything we ask of him. He'll do things even if he's not asked, like, I'm going to go take that guy out, coach. He did something, I'm going to go get him. But he really does a nice job. I mean, he's able to, he really grew technically this year, if we talk like from a soccer perspective. He started off a little dicey with his feet, and he was able to grow and adapt, and he really worked hard and pushed himself to improve, which is fantastic, and especially going into next year, senior year. I hope he continues to improve and continues to push himself. He had one goal this year, earned that goal. Missed one against Cloverleaf, but earned that other goal. We're proud of him. We're excited to see how he does next year. That's Dalen Martin. We got a couple more seniors here, or juniors here to talk about before we get to our seniors. Our next junior is Jackson Powell. Jackson's a very good interviewer, I might tell you. Interviewed me the other day for a school project. Got a feature in the press. Jackson had 11 goals, 9 assists. He was the second leading goal scorer all Medina County. He was a Medina County All-Gazette honorable mention. He was also an All Great Lakes Conference first team player and an All Greater Akron second team player. Jackson is a player that scores when you absolutely need him to score. And my brother-in-law is the assistant at St. Vincent St. Mary's, and when he cuts my hair, so the next chance I got to sit down and talk to him while he's cutting my hair, I had to tread lightly about the goal Jackson scored. But it was fantastic to see, because I watched a lot of these. We scored some pretty cool goals this year. I mean, Hamza's celebration, Hunter scored a fantastic goal. Dude, these are fun. It's a highlight year. But Jackson had some wonder goals, and I think that it speaks to the type of player he is. He's a fantastic player. He's incredibly humble about how good he is, except for when he celebrates and it's all about me. It's awesome. I love it. The confidence is fantastic, but he's incredibly humble when we talk at training. He's always asking how he can improve, and just so willing to go above and beyond, even if he doesn't have to. Without question, he'll do things as a leader and as one of our captains, our only junior captain, that to me speaks volumes about his character. He's a good-hearted kid. He's an even better soccer player, and he's fantastic in the classroom. I'm super excited to see how he does for his senior year. Let's give it up for Jackson Powell. Nate Miller. I figured Nate would show up with his Kingsley Gate Player of the Match trophy he won. That was his best thing of the year. Not going to forget to say this. Nate had 1 goal this year. Earned. Should have had more. He's doing an awesome job. Nate was an All Great Lakes Conference honorable mention, and is just an absolute riot. He's got such a great personality, and when you have a team that, everything is new, and the coaching staff is new, and the way everything is new to them, you need those personalities that the kids can lean on and rely on. And Nate has a fantastic personality. He's confident, he's respectful, he's funny sometimes, and he's just He's an all-around great player. He was one of the 2 players we had at center back all season long, and did a fantastic job pairing with Ian in the back. And it was fantastic to see him grow. At the beginning of the season, it was a little rocky. It was a little more aggressive, and then we started talking about basketball, and I started comparing how you would guard Steph Curry, and are you really going to go in like you're guarding LeBron against Steph Curry, and you're not. But as soon as he started doing that, he had a whole 180 turnaround, and he was a unit. You were not getting past him. And then it evolved even more to where you couldn't get past him, to where he then got the ball, and now we're going forward quickly, and he did such a nice job taking on ownership of that position back there. And I'm incredibly proud of his development and his growth, and I'm super excited to see him hone down and score a lot of header goals from our trick play on corner kicks. So give it up for Nate. Tanner Kusa. This is our number 1 right here. Tanner is, he's very soft-spoken, and he was at the beginning of the season very soft-spoken. And I do my best to pick on those kids the most and get their personality to shine. And I think he really did a nice job. This year, Tanner, this is a real number, Tanner, had 92 saves this season and 8 clean sheets. Tanner's another one of our goalkeepers that, when Brian worked with our goalkeepers, he bought into it 100%. All 3 of them did. And it showed. And from the very beginning of the season to the end of the season, he was an absolute brick wall. And it's nice to see, because as a goalkeeper coming in, I know last season Buckeye had a fantastic goalkeeper, and from, years and years, there's always been good ones. And I came in and I said, we need a good goalkeeper. And this kid stepped up to the plate and absolutely owned it. And it was phenomenal. And it's exciting to see, because you have a kid that not only did he own the position, but he bought into the training, and he took it upon himself to ask questions. And, I run training sessions late in the day because I, work during the day, and this kid is out there kicking the soccer ball and doing everything he can to improve with his feet and whatever it needs to. Part of it I know he had to be there, but he did a fantastic job just taking it upon himself to improve. I'm super thrilled to see him next year and what he's able to accomplish, and hope that he comes back willing and ready to get his butt kicked again. And I still always score penalties, so it's all right, man. Yeah, a couple is not as many as I scored, though. All right, let's give it up for Tanner. So the first senior I'm going to talk about, and I hope he's here, I don't know if he's here because I can't see him, is everyone's favorite transfer is Brandinho. Did he leave? He was here, man. He took a pizza and split. So, for those of you unaware, Brandon transferred right at the beginning of the season. They moved here from Mexico. His whole family moved here. And it's scary enough when a kid transfers and goes to another school, even within the same district. But to not only transfer to another school, but now you're in another country, and Coach Ivan was able to relate and talk to him as much as he could understand. But he came in and started learning the language so much that I said, I think he secretly knew English this whole time. He was just pretending. He's also our own personal thief, because we had him stick the Walsh ball up his shirt when he left. But you don't know about that, because that didn't happen. Don't steal. This season, Brandon had 2 goals and 1 assist. And I know he absolutely killed it for the JV team, so let's give a nice round of applause for Brandon. If you don't yell, you're a rocket on this next one, I'm going to be very disappointed. Our next player is Hamza Al-Nadi. So Hamza had 4 goals and 4 assists. He was also an All Great Lakes Conference honorable mention. Hamza's a very well-liked player, and Hamza's a very good kid to have around. You guys have done a very good job with him. He's awesome. You guys have all done a good job with kids. But I really like Hamza. He's fun. Hamza's the most confident and hilarious kid, and it is so nice when he lets that personality shine on the soccer field. And it absolutely showed the night we played Bay Village. I'm sorry, the night we beat Bay Village. And it was awesome to see his celebration. You know, you talk about watching the goals we've scored and seeing them playing that back, but Hamza's celebration was phenomenal. I think my second favorite celebration was actually Hunter Uline's celebration on the sidelines of that goal. It was like, I would replay that in my mind. It was awesome. He was the most excited kid ever. But Hamza's celebration was fantastic, and you have to have personality like that. You know, we play such a heavy schedule, so much so that the Gazette asked, you know, you guys don't seem afraid to play anyone. And it's not that we're not afraid to play anyone, we are just so confident and full of kids like Hamza that you don't need to be afraid. Because even in the worst games, you'll still have kids like Hamza who will be sitting on the sidelines cracking jokes and at least trying to lighten the tension. He's incredibly skillful. I hope he goes on to play somewhere, and I'm sad to see him go. Seriously. Especially, hopefully your dad comes around with a season ticket. That's my favorite sideline. It was awesome. But that is Hamza Al-Nani. Let's give him a round. Our next senior is Mr. Hunter Day. Hunter tallied 2 goals, 2 assists, and was an All Great Lakes Conference second-team player. I also think that he leads the team in yellow cards from the right back position. But he is an absolute lockdown, put the seatbelt on it, nobody's going anywhere when he plays that position. It's incredible. And the minute we were able to start getting a flow and we were moving the ball forward and we were playing in our system, he bought in. And if I needed to stick him in the middle, if I needed to rest, Gavin, or I had to pull someone off in the middle, he was able to adapt 100%. He's another one of those kids that's an absolute utility player. No matter where you put him, he does a fantastic job. And it crossed my mind. I said, we run up. Dover is the first goal of the season. He scores. He runs up from the right back position. I go, oh my gosh, dude! If I could put you forward, it'd be great. And then I'm like, but I really like you at the right back position. It was a debate coach and I had all season long, and it's a great thing. I hope he's another kid. I hope he goes on and plays somewhere and is able to take his talents not to South Beach and don't follow in LeBron's footsteps, but somewhere, because I think that you've got a ceiling that's not been reached yet. I think there's a lot more in the tank that you have to give, and we appreciate you. We will miss you dearly. Hunter Day. Ian Bonnet. Ian had 3 assists this season. He was an All Great Lakes Conference first-team player and an All Greater Akron second-team player. He was another part of our backline duo, our center back pairing. And again, I watched a lot of film on these guys, and I just like to watch, every aspect of it. And he was a kid, and I watched the Walsh game from last year quite a few times, and he is fearless in that game. If you've ever watched it or if you were there, absolutely fearless. And I was like, all right, I don't have to worry about, getting these kids not to be physical, because Ian is the epitome of physical on the soccer field. And so physical that I got a red card, and I said, oh my gosh, man, I've never had this issue where I got to tame the team. But after that, he really did a nice job the rest of the season, remaining calm under pressure and locking down the back, not only from the soccer part of it, but also getting kids focused at training as one of our captains and showing up and and leading by example and working hard in every session. I mean, he could tell you that he's sick and I don't feel good. You never know. I know he's shown up to a couple sessions like, I got a scratchy throat. I got congestion, whatever, and he just powered through it because he just wants to be there to improve. Anyways, he has his job during the day. He does at school. Like, I drive to Cincinnati today, and I said, bro, what do you do? But he's got a great personality, and especially, having known the Banquet family for some time, knowing Jared and all those kids, it's nice to have been able to coach one of them, and it being Ian was awesome because he's got great personality. I hope he decides to play somewhere because I think he'd be an amazing addition to any program. I appreciate you. Another kid I'll miss all of you guys, but another one I'll miss dearly, and it's Ian Banquet. The next player is not here. I feel like I should turn and talk to the camera for this one. That is Sam O'Brien. Sam had 21 goals, 6 assists, was an All-Great Lakes Conference first-team player and All-Greater Akron first-team player. He finished as the #1 goal scorer in Medina County, and is currently now the official record holder at 54 career varsity goals at Buckeye High School. That's crazy. I knew of Sam before I came. I knew a lot about Sam. I heard a lot about Sam when he was growing up, and when I came in and I saw Sam, I said, this is the kid. He's like very mild-mannered and quiet. He's like very respectful. You would not know that he's got 54 career varsity goals. Incredibly humble to speak with. And he's incredibly hardworking. Always willing when the coach needs the captain to do something. He's one of the first kids that I could go to and say, hey, I need you to, deal with this, sophomore, junior, go talk to those guys and get them rolling. Always one of the first kids to get things started. And on the field, he produces. He's fantastic to watch. I'm incredibly sad to see him go and that I was only able to be here with him for 1 year. But he's an all-around team player, and he was willing to play even in a position where he may not have liked it at first until we were able to figure it out. As a coach, coming into a program, whether you played there or you coached there before, you have a grace period where you have to sort things out, figure who plays where, etc. And Sam was willing to play a position even if he wasn't, it wasn't his favorite, but he did it because it was for the betterment of the team. And we appreciate that. We miss him. I know he's down in Florida right now, playing his club tournament.
Yeah, U.S. National League.
So he took a trip to Florida and didn't invite me. And hopefully he does well. We miss him. I'll miss him next year, and we appreciate him. So Sam O'Brien. Oh man. I'm not going to cry on this one, I promise. I already cried at the game. Teared up. I don't get emotional. Jaden Davenport, check you. I've known Jaden a very long time. I've known Jaden since Chance was a peanut. And let me tell you, growing up, even when I was in high school, and Jaden and Cy, we were all up at the soccer field doing the Adidas tournament and riding golf carts around. Like, his personality has not changed. He has been the same goofy, funny, smart-mouthed kid that I knew when he was little. He's just a little bit taller, not taller than me. But he's a fantastic soccer player. He's excellent to watch. He's confident. He takes risks. He's brave, as I always tell the kids, be brave and creative. And it's awesome to see. Jaden this year had 2 goals, 4 assists, and was an All-Greater Akron honorable mention. And I think it goes without question that, he's another player that, played a position he wasn't super familiar with again until we were able to kind of sort things out. And the minute we stuck him on the outside, as an outside midfielder. He just absolutely took it. I pull him off to get a quick breath, and I said, "What do you think of that left back?" He's like, "I got him." And I'm like, "All right, perfect. Just go out there and do your thing." And it's fun to see, and it's nice to have players like that, because that kind of bravery and creativity bleeds down onto the other players, and hope that they're able to feed off of that for years to come. So is another kid that I know I'm going to see from here on out, because Coach Sy and I are buddies. So I appreciate you. I'm sad to see you go, but I'm glad that you were here. So thank you, baby. So the next two players I'll speak to briefly because they're not here. Keegan Lockard. Keegan this year had 8 saves. He had 2 clean sheets, and he's currently starring in our musical this year. So if you get a chance, I put the link in there. Go see it. I can go to Nick's in it too, right?
No, I'm not.
I'm going to call Miss Habercorn and get you in it. But Keegan did a nice job. He was our backup goalkeeper this year. He was another kid that worked with Coach Brian, and they really did a nice job all buying into that. And he busted his butt. He was able to get a couple starts as a varsity player in his first year, which as a senior, if you're going to be a backup goalkeeper, it's challenging. Emotionally, it's taxing. It's not an easy thing. As a senior, you have a certain expectation, but sometimes Coach has a different expectation. And he was able to look past that and did a really nice job buying into our collective group and really took the opportunities that he was given, whether they were great or few, and did a nice job with them. So that is Keegan Lockard. Next is Landon Wilson. Landon had 1 assist this season. He is also the nutmeg attempt master. Every chance he got, I think he did his best to nutmeg everybody he could, which is fun. Except when we need to go to the goal and not try and wait to nutmeg somebody. There's no bonus points, as much as we wish. But Landon started off soft-spoken. He's another kid that he's super creative and crafty and a brave player. And towards the end of the season, I think I called it the right trigger mode, which is, and if you've ever played FIFA, is you push the right trigger when you want your guy to sprint. And I started just yelling, push the right trigger, just go. Because I figured screaming at him to sprint was not working. So just respond when you use Xbox and PlayStation references. But he did an awesome job, and he started to get more brave and more confident, and more confident in himself. And that was my goal for him at the end of the season was, you don't have to look to anyone's approval as long as you are comfortable and confident in yourself. It doesn't matter. Be confident as a player in yourself, and then everyone else will see that. So that is Landon Wilson. Last but not least is Nicholas Brunst. Nick had 2 goals and 1 assist, and this season was an All-Great Lakes second-team player. Nick's another kid that I knew a lifetime ago and have known a long time, known the Brunst family a very long time, and back in the day, Nick was a goalkeeper. And I had asked Nick early on, I said, hey, listen, I said, do you want to try being a goalkeeper again? He goes, dude, my mom will kill me. I said, come on, you did it once. I couldn't convince him, but he has, from the time he was little to now, he has always been and always will be a very humble and kind-hearted young man, and it's fantastic to have been able to coach him this year. Nick is an absolute unit as a defender, and just, it's terrifying when you play against a wrestler. It just really is. And he did a nice job. And as one of our captains this year, Nick was another player, as one of our leaders that when we needed him to be a leader, he was the leader. And he would step up and we would need, whether to hype the guys up or to calm the guys down or to get everyone level-headed, I could look to Nick. And he was constantly chirping on the sidelines. Sometimes he chirped more than me and I just let it go. But he's another kid that when I came back, I was super thrilled I was going to be able to coach him at least 1 year. And I'm sad to see him go, and I hope, whether he decides to go into wrestling or play soccer somewhere, that he does something, but to never change, because he's got a great personality. So Nick, I appreciate you. All right, so you guys can all have a seat. So now what we're going to do is our team awards. We've got quite a few. Okay, so the first award we're going to give out today is our most improved player. Now, I wasn't entirely sure I wanted to do a most improved player this year, because I was not here last year, and I like to have, I like to be able to, know that I'm choosing the correct player. And then I realized I have someone that was here last year with me, and we spoke, and we both agreed on the player we feel should receive the award for most improved. This player is someone that, again, started off the season a little timid and soft-spoken at first, but absolutely turned it around and became an absolute unit for us as a goalkeeper, and that is Tanner Kusan. Our next player is the Offensive Player of the Year. We got a lot of awards, so just sit tight. This player, and I consider this somebody who was able to contribute when as a team, we absolutely needed somebody to contribute. And had a healthy balance of goals and assists. And I'm incredibly proud of this player to take on moments when we needed it. This year, the Offensive Player of the Year is Jackson Powell. The next award is the Defensive Player of the Year. This is a player that I don't like to scrimmage against this player, because I feel like I'm going to get injured, mostly because I can't move like I used to move anymore. But I am not able to do anything to trick this player to go anywhere, and and it's not fun when I can't not make a kid. So this year's Defensive Player of the Year goes to Ian Bonnet. So the next award this is an award that I was very happy that Buckeye did, because everyone in the world does this award. It's fun because it's a literal name. But this is the Golden Boot. And the Golden Boot goes to the player that scores the most goals in a single season. Eventually we're going to get to a point where we have a Golden Glove, I'd hope. I just couldn't find any gloves. But this year, the Golden Boot winner, obviously, goes without question, Sam O'Brien.
He loves that one, Ivan, but that's his favorite.
We've got a couple more awards. This next award is the Team MVP. And I think that when we consider the MVP and what it means and what's the point of it? Everybody assumes, you know, Giannis and LeBron, and I think it's the player that impacts the most. And without that player, you feel it. And you know that they have an influence on the game. And I think it's important to note that the player receiving this is a player that plays a position that doesn't get recognized, and I think it's important to recognize positions when, even if, you know, it's not the norm. But our team MVP this year is well-deserving, and that is Gavin Williams. Okay. We're almost done, I promise. Yeah, 10 minutes. All right. So the next award is the Coaches Award. The Coaches Award is something that is super important to me, and I know coaches around the world, because it's an award that's just unique to our decision and our choice. And this player, they're receiving this award not because of any on-the-field accolade, but their off-the-field accolade. You know, you parents and those volunteers that help in the concession stand do things and go above and beyond, it's thankless oftentimes. But when I have someone telling me that there's a player constantly asking to help, and is constantly in the concession stand, and constantly doing things, constantly asking, how can I help, where can I be of use? That is not a soccer thing. That's not a sport characteristic. That's just a human characteristic. And that speaks to this player's heart, and I'm incredibly excited to have this player back again next year. This year's Coaches Award is Hunter Uline. A couple more. So the next one is our Buckeye High School, the sponsorship award. This year we were incredibly fortunate to have Kingsley Gate donate to our program so we could have a player to match this year, which I think was fantastic, and I'm hoping that it starts a chain of people willing to support our program every year. So our sponsorship award this year is going to go to Kingsley Gate Partners. Thank you so much. So, if you'll allow me a little story, when I was a sophomore, there was a boy I played with named Michael Kelly, and his dad was Mike Kelly Sr. Really good family, incredibly helpful anytime we asked. Mr. Kelly would go above and beyond to help at any point. And when I was a sophomore, Mr. Kelly had cancer and passed away suddenly. And Mikey was a junior, I believe. And my dad was on staff as a coach while I was in high school, my sophomore through senior year, and they created the Mike Kelly Award. The Mike Kelly Award is something that I decided to bring back because I think it's important to honor those that gave to our program, because it's not easy to give when you don't get anything back, especially this day and age. It seems so cold, the world. So when you have people willing to donate and do things, it's our duty to make sure we honor them. So this year's Mike Kelly recipient is somebody who has donated without recognition since 2007. He's an alumni that some of you may have met at our alumni game. His name is Ken Mertes. And he works for Chevron, and through Chevron he's donated consistently close to $1,000 every year to the Buckeye Soccer Organization. And I think it's incredibly important that if you've donated that long, close to almost 20 years now, 15 years to our program, that they be recognized. So if we could give a round of applause for Ken. So actually, if this last bit, we did a game this year that was super important. to myself and to a particular individual that would do something big. Jackson Powell came to me at the beginning of the school year. He was the first kid that approached me after I got hired and talked to me about Noah Cutler and told me about his story and the experience he had with him and visiting him and getting to know the family. For those of you that don't know, and I'm sure most of you know, Noah, who's in attendance tonight, battled and kicked cancer's butt, which is fantastic. So if we could please give him a round of applause. Noah recently successfully completed his first soccer game and almost scored a goal. Until this Sunday where he's going to score a goal. But it was super important to Jackson that we do something. So we created now officially the Noah Cutler Champions Cup. And so what I'd like to do briefly, if Jackson, if you could come up here, and then if Ken and the family could come up as well. Through generous donations and fantastic support from not only our community at Buckeye. Sarah, do you know which ones it is? Through our community and Brunswick community, we were able to raise a little over $6,000 for the Cutler family to support them in any way we can. Not only was money raised, but there were loads of toys and gift cards donated to Akron Children's Hospital. So if we could give a round of applause. And then if, Ken, if you want to come on over, battle through the tears.
Alright, I'm gonna try not to cry too hard, so. First of all, thank you to Buckeye Soccer. Sarah, team, Jackson especially. You got me. I'll get it out when I say it. So, Coach Sarah and Jackson approached us and said, hey, we'd like to do this game. And I did the exact same thing, sitting at that picnic table at the field. Unbelievably amazing, speechless for a junior in high school to come up with an idea to support a family in the community is beyond words. We've had so much love, support, help, just throughout the community, whether it's the soccer team, family, friends, church, work, whatever it's been. This was really truly a cool idea to get more of the soccer community and Buckeye in general, along with other friends and family involved in, what we take 12 boxes and trips down to the Akron Children's Hospital for toys and things, blankets. That was amazing. The look on Renee Redcheck's face was pretty awesome in itself. I think that the support and just the look on his face and Jonah's face when the high school kids would give him a fist bump or a high five or, hey, good to see you, meant the world to us. And we want to thank you guys, so thank you very much. With that, we'd like to award Jackson Powell the Buckeye Leadership Award.
Thank you, guys. It's incredible. I think we're blessed, man. I mean, every day you wake up is a blessed day, but this was something special. I'm super excited to see how we hopefully win it next year, but the money that was raised, the toys that were brought in, the gift cards, it was incredible, and it was super cool to see the picture of Noah bringing all the gift cards to his buddies. So with that, that concludes our presentations for today. Before we have one last applause for those of you that are interested in the indoor league, which starts in February. Coach Sai is doing sign-ups, so please see her. That's for freshmen through juniors. So thank you, I appreciate you, and we'll see you next year.